Yeah. We stop playing with y'all niggas, man. Yeah. Niggas know that's. Niggas know that's. Niggas know that's only one of me. Niggas know that's only one of me. Niggas know that's. What?
What's up and welcome back, y'all, to episode 2 of the Hoops Unfiltered podcast. We appreciate anybody who tuned in for episode 1. We had a nice little lengthy debate. Obviously, this right here is the continuation. So I want to welcome anybody back. Appreciate y'all. But I'm going to go ahead and start this off. My name is Zion. But as you can see right there, I'm on Twitch and Zodify. I'm on Twitch and Zodify. So I'm going to be one of your hosts for today. All right. Y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves, man.
Yeah, you go, man.
What's good, y'all, man? It's Brandon out here, man. Brandon Streams on Twitch, man.
So,
You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Last episode, we got something great for y'all coming up today.
Yo, what's up, y'all? You feel me? It's Shaun, a.k.a. Shaun the Dawn. You feel me? I'm on Apple Music, Spotify, all that, TikTok, all that.
Yes. And I love what Brandon said. We got something cooking up for y'all today. Speaking of today and our topic for today. Now, y'all saw our last episode was who's the best player in the NBA. Little debate, some hot takes, okay? So we're going to add on to that. Instead of the best player in the NBA, who's the best second option in the NBA? Y'all see the cover image right now. Y'all see the Jaylen Browns, the Anthony Davises, the Jamal Murrays. So today we are going to be talking about who we think is the best second option in the NBA. And y'all know what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this. We're going to argue. We're going to debate. But most importantly, we're going to entertain for y'all guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's segment. Fellas, let's just go ahead and start off by name dropping. Similar to how we did last week. To name dropping who we think is the best player. Who we think is the best second option in the league right now. I'm going to go ahead and start off. I'll go ahead and start off. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, I personally believe that the best second option in the league is Jamal Murray. And I'll explain in a little bit later. But y'all go ahead.
Okay, buddy, go ahead.
I believe the best second option in the world is none other than Anthony Shaun Davis Jr. Facts.
All right, man, know his old government. I believe, not think, I know KD is the second best option in the world. Indeed.
Wait, let me get close to the mic with this one. So Shaun, just to be sure, when you say KD, you talking about Kevin Durant, right?
KD.
Kevin Durant, Slim Reaper, Easy Money Sniper.
Mm-hmm.
Second option?
Easy. Second option. For as I'm concerned.
Second option, though.
Ask D-Book.
All right, anyway, we're going to get straight into it. We're going to get into our reasons why we think our player is the best player. Our player is the best second option. I don't know if one of y'all want to start off first. If not, I don't mind. So I would just leave the room for y'all. Who wants to go ahead and start off? Explain why. I love this.
I'll be glad to start off, man. Set things off the right way, man. Anthony Davis, man, he's the best second option in the world. Because there's a lot of other titles as he has. And I feel like out of all the second options, he got the most titles for real. I mean, the best two-way big man in basketball. I seen a man get 55 with my own eyes. I seen him give Porzingis 55 myself. Like that's the best second option in the world. 27-10, going to the finals, getting the ring. I don't know who else is playing that type of a role in the championship year. I don't know what other second option is giving you 27-10.
KD.
That's not a second option, Shaun.
Hold on, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. So that's your point, though. That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
Because I can't wait to hear Shaun explain Kevin Durant, 2 final MVP is a second option. But before we get into that, I'm gonna go ahead and provide my point. Before I provide my point, though, Brandon Streams, Anthony Davis is the second option, the best second option with the most rings ever.
Nah, not the most rings ever. I'm saying not like most titles, but like he's the best of a lot. Word. That's what I meant.
But those were the words that came out your mouth, right?
That's the words that came out of my mouth. They ain't lying.
Like, you know, he got one ring, right?
No, he only got one ring. Yeah, one ring.
Because if we got to pull up, I think, it might be Scottie Pippen, because we look up Scottie Pippen resume. I think he's the second option in the world with the most rings. I just want to throw that out there. I just don't want to hear the fake stats. Anyway, all right, y'all, on to my point where I think Jamal Murray is the best player or the best second option in the NBA. Obviously, I think Jamal Murray, I'm going to go ahead and explain why. I'm not going to give y'all a story how I saw Jamal Murray drop 100 points in Madison Square Garden. I'm not going to do no visceral story like that, but what I am going to provide to y'all is what y'all see on television every April of this man going into your team's home court and giving your team 30 and 40. And 15 to 20 of those baskets, of those points, are in the fourth quarter. Speaking of Anthony Davis, y'all, do y'all remember that infamous playoff game? I believe it was game 2. Where Jamal Murray came off that screen, got the switch on AD, fade away for the game? Because guess what? Now, I might have not seen that in person, but I darn sure saw that on my TV. I'm just saying, so when you look at a guy who could just, in a regular season, he averages 21 points and plays with Brandon's best player in the NBA. So to be able to play with someone of that caliber and average 21, I think he's very complimentary. And then that's just in the regular season. So when we talk about the elevation from the regular season to the playoffs, the production it's a big boost. It's Jimmy Butler like. It might even be better than Jimmy Butler's. So that's all I'm gonna leave with for right now. But what I can't wait to hear is Shaun the Don. Why in the world is a 2-time champ, 1-time MVP, and 2-time final MVP, and the GOAT of the Olympics? Why is he a second option? Can we just start off with that before you explain anything else?
He is second option in Phoenix. You feel me? He came to Phoenix. That's D Book's team. You feel me? That's D Book's team. He came there as a second option. So I feel like he's a second option. You feel me? Obviously, he's 7 foot, mobile, unguardable. You feel me? Shoot the ball at a high clip. Average 25, 6 and 5 last season. Like, you feel me? I just feel like
That's cap. 49 average on 25, 6 and 5.
My bad.
How many games played, Shaun?
27, 6 and 5.
Yes, 27. Devin Booker averaged a whopping 27.1, and Kevin Durant averaged a whopping 27.1. It's the same stuff, Shaun, but that's the second option.
Still second option. He came to D-Book team.
So how do you define someone being a second option? So do you not believe in the 1A, 1B?
That's 1A, 1B, Shaun.
How is that a second option?
KD 1B. 1B second option, indeed.
Okay, so going off that mindset, right, of that, I guess KD's 1B, which I guess would that really make it a second option? But I digress. Going off that 1A, 1B, if KD was the second option, do you really think they would give it to his hands as much as they do in those fourth quarter runs, in those fourth quarter, like less than a minute, less than 2 minutes? Why would the ball go into the hands of a second option as much? We saw that the other night. He forced OT. Second options don't do that.
That's a fact.
When they first option on the floor, it's not getting trusted in no second option like that.
I mean, KD's more clutch than D-Book, but I still feel like he's still a second option.
And Brandon, what was the points per game comparison?
27.1 and 27.1.
So what makes 1A, 1B if they both average the same points?
That's a bad boy, man. He came to D-Book.
He's just a bad boy, y'all. All right. But let's go ahead and get to our main segment. So, obviously, y'all, we just went ahead and name dropped and explained why we think that our player is the best second option in the NBA. But to go ahead and just kind of narrow it down to give y'all better input to why we think so. So, our first sub point for today is how well do y'all think y'all's second option complements the first option? Let's just go ahead and start off with Shaun since KD's the second option. How well does Kevin Durant Because if you're a second option, you're essentially complimenting your first option. So how well does Kevin Durant compliment D-Book?
So well, he can play off ball. That's you feel me? While D-Book's doing his thing, you feel me? KD will play dish the ball to KD. Hello, you feel me? If D-Book, you feel me? Get tired, you feel me? He can clamp. KD, boom, second option, going crazy. Come here, midi, pull up. You feel me? I just feel like, yeah, that's how you compliment very well.
Okay. Before I say what I got to say, Brandon, explain to me. So we're considering LeBron James as the first option. I'm assuming, just so we under the same consensus. Okay. So
right.
how well, and also how does Anthony Davis compliment LeBron as the first option?
How well I think he compliments LeBron James very well, but how he doesn't. I feel like LeBron can really play with anybody, so it's really like more of a compliment towards LeBron than AD, because LeBron can just play with anybody. He's a GOAT for me, but AD really compliments it. I mean, that pick and roll is crazy work. The dump downs inside, the post ups. I feel like LeBron can really play off that well. He can go up top. He can come down the lane a little bit in transition. I mean, we know how LeBron likes to play. We know how AD likes to play. I just feel like that, that compliments very, very well. AD's not that selfish. AD doesn't need the ball all the time. He doesn't need to, dribble and stuff like that. He can score.
So how would you say he compliments it though? Because LeBron's not no prolific 3-point shooter. AD darn for sure is not a prolific 3-point shooter. In fact, he's below league average. He's looking at around easily 28 to let's say 31% from three on average, with I think less than 3 3-pointers attempted a game. So when you look at a slash and threat like LeBron, and you look at Anthony Davis, who is typically on the block or clogging the paint, maybe short blocks, sometimes maybe spaced out in the three. His shooting look like it's improving this season, but it's only been a couple of games, so we'll have to see with that. So how exactly does he compliment LeBron? Because I would think you would want a 5 or a 4 who's a prolific 3-point shooter, so Bron could get inside more instead of having to go into the paint on the Rudy Gobert's because Anthony Davis is by the block.
You would, and that would be some type of a better fit for Bron.
Yeah.
But because we're playing with LeBron James, he's such a great playmaker. He's such a great playmaker. One of the best playmakers of all time, if not the best playmaker of all time. And when you playing with someone like that, I think he leads the league right now in assists, or one of these two, or whatever. When you playing with somebody who's very unselfish, very let me get my guys and dish everybody.
We
still in week one. Like,
that's
still in week one.
Games in,
I think LaMelo's top 3 in points per game right now, bro. We're in week one.
I gotta go off the numbers I know now. You know what I'm saying? Last time LeBron won a championship, he led the league in assists, playoffs, and regular season. So he's a natural playmaker. He's really pass first, if you ask me. When you're playing with someone like that, I feel like that will always fit in Anthony Davis' case because every big needs a playmaker. Wemby could have averaged 30 if he had a playmaker.
Okay.
And, it just brings the best out of the bigs when you play with somebody like that. When LeBron brings the best out of AD, AD brings the best out of LeBron. It's peanut butter and jelly.
Okay, I wouldn't say peanut butter and jelly. So I think they both nice. So here's my thing with LeBron and AD, right? So we watched the other night when they played against Minnesota, right? LeBron was on a minute restriction. And you could say because they're trying to preserve his body for the rest of the season. But as he's sitting on the bench, Anthony Davis is going on a scoring rampage. In fact, it looked like to me he's scoring more of LeBron off the court than LeBron on the court. So I'm just trying to, from an aspect of how well does the second option complement the first option, to me, it looks like he doesn't complement the first option very well because of his inability to really space the floor effectively. Now, Anthony Davis has dominance, but if you're talking about, he going to scoring rampage, he can do that with anybody. I just don't feel like that complements LeBron play style. But like you said, because LeBron is who LeBron is, LeBron can play with anybody. But that doesn't necessarily mean Anthony Davis is a really great complementary player for him. That's all I'm saying. But I'll move on into my point. And this is going to be quite easy. And I think this is irrefutable. I'm going to be real with y'all. I think this is irrefutable, y'all. Jamal Murray, I think there's no second option in the NBA that complements their first option more than Jamal Murray. When you look into the regular season, first of all, Jamal Murray is a prolific three-point shooter. In fact, he typically shoots from 36 to 38% from three, which is above league average. He's actually had a season where he shot 41%, and then we're not even talking about the playoffs yet, y'all, where his production and his efficiency drastically improves. So we're just going to stick to the regular season for now. But when you talk about, because you said LeBron's the best playmaker in the league, when you talk about the real best playmaker in the league,
Here we go.
and just look at that whole Nuggets organization and the roster. And when I tell you that whole team is suited around and just complements Jokic's play style, they really do. So when you talking about having my point guard, who can also average about 6 assists a game for the season, who's a prolific three-point shooter, and in the playoffs, one of the best three-point shooters in the league, has the ability to move off the ball as well as create for Jokic. Jokic has the ability to sit on the block and have his guard come off ball a screen, curl off a screen, catch a shoot in the corner. So when you look at Jokic, and the goal is to always surround Jokic with shooters, and you have Jamal Murray as your point guard who can give you 6 assists, and is one of the best three-point shooters, if not the best three-point shooter on the team, I personally think he is. I think Michael Porter Jr. is amazing at shooting the ball, but I don't think he's as efficient as Jamal Murray from down there. There is no player in the league that complements their first option as a second option than Jamal Murray. And we can argue it, but I mean, how can you argue with the facts when Jokic's play style is dependent on can I ISO on the block? See, LeBron doesn't take a dip in LeBron has to take a dip in production when that lane's not opened up. Right? And it's not always going to be opened up because even if Anthony Davis is spaced out, people going to help. My man shoots 31% from three. He ain't no elite shooter. When Jamal Murray is in the corner and Jokic is on the block with Rudy Gobert, we're not leaving Jamal Murray open now. I mean, we're just not going to do that. We're just going to have to hope our 4-time defensive player of the year can just guard Nikola Jokic because we're not going to leave Jamal Murray open. And I'm gonna just leave it like that for our first point. But let me know what y'all think about that.
Oh, Lord.
Usually I would say something. Usually I have something to say back, but I think you covered that one. I don't think he's the best second, but no one compliments. Yeah, no one can. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
How you feel about that, Shaun?
You did your thing, but
Yes, sir.
KD from me stole off. So as he stole off, he's still the second best option in the world. Yeah, there.
The second option is that averages the same amount of points as the first option.
Listen,
Well, that's the top 10 player in the world.
Wait, okay. Before we even get into our next point, all right. Let me try to figure something out, y'all. For everybody in the viewers, appreciate y'all. Everybody in chat, and then even from people in the YouTubes in the comment section, y'all please help this man out. This is my first time.
Help me.
This is my first time in my life, and this is probably the first time in KD's career he was called a second option
By yours truly.
by Shaun the Don on Spotify and Apple Music. KD is called a second option, averaging 27 points, is being delegated the ball in clutch moments. There's no second option getting those touches in the league. You know why? Because my man is not a second option.
He's not.
Forzy and Phoenix, he a second option.
So
But we can go to the next point.
so why again is he the second option? Because they average the same amount of points. And I don't want to hear because Devin Booker was on the Suns before
But
KD
that's just
got on the Suns.
You're gonna hear that, but you're gonna
Bro.
hear that. That's D-Buck's team, as far as I'm concerned.
Wait. Okay, so if we're using that logic,
Okay.
when LeBron went to Miami, was Wade still the first option? I'm just trying to figure. That was his team, and he won a championship with that team. Would that still not make him the first option?
Next question.
Oh my gosh, man. All right, y'all. We're moving on. All right, let's go ahead and get to our next point. So, for our next point, okay, this is a good one. Okay, so we're talking about who's the best second option. First point we said who was the best complementary to their first option. This next point we're going to go ahead and say could and this would just speak to show how good this player is. Could this second option be a first option on a contender team? Let's just go ahead and start off with yours, Shaun, because we actually know the answer to that. Because he's not a second option. But go ahead.
Yeah, you feel me? He did it with the Thunder, Brooklyn, and don't get me started on Golden State. Suns, I can't really talk too much about them. They team kind of, but yeah, Thunder, Brooklyn, and Warriors. Yeah, he did it with them.
Yeah, and not even just saying like from a past perspective, but just like saying almost from a future or really just a present perspective. Like if you were to trade Kevin Durant and put him on a top 5 team in either the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, would he be able to be that number 1 option, or at least just that number 1 scoring option for any of those teams?
I just thought so.
Yeah.
Shaun, let me ask you a question.
Talk to me.
You have a dishwasher and you have a server. I just came into your restaurant. I want a job. You got a dishwasher or a server. You see me at the dishwasher. I can wash all the kitchen's dishes in 10 minutes flat.
Right.
But with serving, I'm still nice. I'm nice, but I'm just a way better dishwasher. Like work. What am I better, dishwasher or am I a better server? What am I? Am I a dishwasher or am I a server? What's better for us?
You're a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Look, fine. You want me to say you're a dishwasher? You're a dishwasher, right?
I'm a dishwasher. So Kevin Durant is a better first option than he is a second option. So he's a first option player, huh?
I like that too. Now I am gonna say something though. I'm gonna ask a question. Did we just call Kevin Durant a dishwasher? I just want to be sure. I'm trying to figure out where we went with that. Crazy analogies aside, I think that did hold some incentive. You did something with it. I agree. Kevin Durant is the first option anywhere he goes. Pretty much. I mean, it's no debating that. But we'll get back to that as well, Shaun. Brandon, is Anthony Davis a first option for another contender team? Well, let me not say another contender team because I don't think Lakers are contenders, but just a contender team in general. Is Anthony Davis first option caliber?
Is he first option caliber? Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is. He can be first option caliber. I have a specific season. I believe it was 16-17 season. He was on the Pelicans, averaging 28, finished 6th in the West. It was like 48-34. I'll take that. 28 as a first option. I like those numbers. I feel like if he had better surrounding pieces, they could have did something. Not a lot because obviously the Warriors were in that conference, and I don't think anybody's effing with the Warriors at that time. Exactly. But
about to say, I think Drew and Cousins were some great pieces.
Very good pieces. But yeah,
didn't have Valanciunas as well. Great pieces. But like you said, the Warriors, no one's getting past the Warriors.
Not with KD on there.
Two, we talking about Pelicans. That's what he didn't play the Pelicans since what 2019, 2018,
2018, I think.
You talking about 6 years? I mean, are we sure he can still produce at that same level? It
look
like he can. I'm just saying, you going way back in time.
I mean, those are the first option numbers I can go off of. But I mean,
true.
I like the games. I mean, I can use this last game as an example. I was going to say when LeBron didn't play, but LeBron didn't play that much. And we seen AD stepped up and have first option like plays. 36 and 13, 36 and 16. I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? We seem to be a first option this year. I like my chances.
About one game.
Stop saying this year, man. They played one game. It's week 1.
We're on the 3rd game of the season, man.
Okay. Don't be mad because my player produced and y'all players did this season.
My players hoop. But that being said, I don't think Anthony Davis can be a first option for a contender team. I think he has the capability to be a first option for a contender team. However, I don't think he has the durability for it. No team is going to trade their best player to obtain Anthony Davis, knowing that he might play less than 60 games for the NBA season. And that's a lot of load, bro. Like when you talk about the workload of being the first option, you're going to be expected to play every night. You're expected to play high minutes. I'm not saying he's doing something similar with the Lakers, but knowing you're the first option in any other contender, like that's a heavy load to carry. And I just don't think he has the durability to be the first option of a contender team. And then we talking about the playoffs too. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wouldn't risk it if I was a GM. That being said, let me go ahead and get to my point. Do I think Jamal Murray could be a first option for a contender? I'm going to say for the regular season, no. I'm going to say no. But at the same time, I don't think that takes away from the point of him being a second option. Because I think a lot of times we lose the definition of what makes a solid second option. Because sometimes first options can be put on another team, but because there's a player better than them or because they have a bigger load or higher production, they're viewed as a second option. I do believe that the best quality of someone who's a second option is how well you can complement the first option. So even though I would really primarily say no, Jamal Murray can't be a first option for a contender, I'm not going to say absolutely not. I do think there's probably a team out there he could be the first option, but it all comes down to production. I can't just name drop a team now. I would have to see how he would get traded to the team, acclimated to the team, and see if he would be put in a role to be the first option. But again, just because he's not the first option on any other team, I don't think that takes away how good he is as the second option. Like Brandon said, either you a dishwasher or he a server. And Jamal Murray is a server. And like you said, even though I could be nice at serving, but I'm a dishwasher. Jamal Murray is a nice server, even though he probably could dishwash. He gonna go ahead and dish out them trays, y'all.
I feel that.
And I think that still all that does is actually add to how much of a second option he is, y'all. Because he complements Jokic so well. And I don't think there's a single player, I'm not gonna say a single player in the league, but I don't think there's a single second option that we're currently talking about that can complement Jokic the way Jamal Murray does. And we all agreed to that. So even though, no, I don't think he could be the first option of a contender team, I do think he could be a first option for some of these lower seed teams on a lower half, like through 6 through 8, 6 through 9, 6 through 10. He absolutely could. But again, I don't think that disproves my point that he's the best second option. If anything, that actually proves that y'all player is just really a first option, but it just happens to be second option for the season. Shaun, your player is not a second option at all. I don't even know why we have this conversation. But
you like disqualified.
Nah, ain't no damn disqualified. 80's a dishwasher, so it don't matter. That's all right. Anyway,
80's a dishwasher. Okay, Shaun.
He low-key is a dishwasher. But, I mean, I give it grace because it's like he's a second option. He's really not, Brandon. It's really 1A, 1B, because if you look at the points per games for the seasons, him and LeBron's points are always in a similar category. I think last season they was both around the same points per game. And in the playoffs, they were both averaging around 27 and 28. So that really is 1A, 1B. And then if we being honest, so we talking about from a scoring perspective, Anthony Davis sometimes look like the first option. But I digress, y'all. All right, listen. Anyway, all right, going into our next point. And this one is my favorite one. I love this one so much. I'm gonna read it off my phone, y'all. All right. For our third and final point, I think I'm gonna add another point as we go because there is something I wanted to ask y'all, but I'll save it for later. For let's just say our third and final or semi-final point. Does a second option's production in the postseason weigh more than a regular season? And how does that impact their capability as a second option? Does it matter more in the playoffs, y'all? How important the playoffs to y'all? Is it to y'all?
Nah,
all right, go ahead. One of y'all go ahead. Start us off.
Absolutely, it matters. If you're a team and your second option is Buns, your second option is Boo Boo, it's over. It's wraps. We seen Minnesota and we seen Cat do what he did against Dallas. And if he'd been just a little shell of himself, they probably could have won that series. A second option in the playoffs has to step up big time.
Absolutely.
Because 9 times out of 10, we know the first option is going to produce. 9 times out of 10, the first option is unguardable no matter what team guards him. But he needs a second option to produce. And I think it really comes down to how well the second option produces is really how far the series goes. When you're talking about being a second option, your playoff production is probably it probably is the most important pillar of your game. Like, you need to perform in the playoffs for sure. And my second option does that very well.
Okay. I like it. And I agree. But before I even get to my point, go ahead, Shaun. Tell us how much the postseason matters to you. And while you're thinking about that, think of Brooklyn versus the Celtics a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh! If his foot wasn't on the line, you were at size 13, y'all. I'm sorry. Nah, but to piggyback off what Brandon said, it's very important. I feel like you can't ball out in the regular season and not show up in the playoffs. Like, that's like when the lights is the brightest. You feel me? Right. Highest stakes. Word. I mean, like, because with your first option, you feel me, is getting trapped. They're coming up with defensive plans, to stop them.
Exactly.
Second option got to hoop. If you don't hoop, then you might mess up, get swept. So, exactly. Yeah, I feel like it weighs more than the regular season.
100%. I would have to agree. I do agree. I agree with both of y'all, actually. I think it's very important, and that kind of just being able to play that role, especially in the playoffs, where the defensive intensity substantially increases, the pressure increases, the fans in the crowd in the audience, all that pressure and intensity increases, and all that pressure increases as well. I think it's way more important for a second option to really solidify their role as a second option, because as y'all both said, especially Shaun, there's a lot more defensive schemes catered around that first option because they're aware of their ability to score, especially just going off the regular season. Like, if a star averages 28 points per game on 48% shooting, they might get double teams, especially if that second option's points per game is under 20 points per game. So now a lot of defensive schemes is really catered around how good is this first option and how good is the second option. Because the first option real good, but the second option only averages 15 points per game and he's shooting, let's say, 42% from the field. The first option is going to see a lot more doubles and a lot more traps. So absolutely, I agree with that. It definitely matters to me. And we're going to kind of explain how our guy fits into that. With my guy personally, I think my guy, at least in this modern era, is the best playoff performer as a second option. In fact, even if we don't talk about second option, if we talk about just playoff performance and just the increase, and y'all can look at it statistically, and I actually got some stats, especially for you, Brandon, against your team. But we're going to go ahead and get into that. If you look at a guy if you look at the production from the regular season to the playoffs, we have never seen such a dramatic increase in production, efficiency, and reliability than Jamal Murray. The second close we've seen in this modern era is Jimmy Butler. So when you have someone like Jamal Murray, who's a wild card, and then if y'all can look at it, let's look at the past 5 years. When Jamal Murray was injured, the Nuggets were getting knocked out in the second round consecutively. I'm going to be real with y'all. So if we look at just play, first of all, let me just go ahead and read some stats to y'all, because y'all know I love to do my homework. All right, y'all know I do my homework. So for the regular season, Jamal Murray averaged 21.2 points per game, 6.5 assists, and 4 rebounds. In the playoffs, and this gonna cook your point, Brandon. I ain't gonna lie to you. The playoff, he averaged 20.6, 5.6, 4.3 rebounds. Now, I know what you want to say. Anthony Davis, bro, averaged better stats than that. I think he was averaging 26 and 15. Oh, yes, he was. But guess what? Jamal Murray played 12 games. How many games did AD play?
High five.
Matter of fact, who knocked out Anthony Davis in the playoffs? The Nuggets. I think Jokic averaged 28 points, and hold on, get this. Hold on, let me pull it up, y'all. and Jamal Murray averaged 25. 25 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds against your Lakers. We're seeing a massive increase, and a lot of those points are in the fourth quarter, which we saw. In fact, game 2, we saw most of the points being scored when Jokic. That's what makes Jamal Murray the best second option. When Jokic underperforms like that, and it's very rare for Jokic to underperform and throw a lot of turnovers like that. When you see a dip in Jokic production, Jamal Murray took over that fourth quarter and won the game for them, hitting clutch shot after clutch shot and even hitting the game winner. I mean, like, you don't get any better than that. And then y'all, see, we talking about Jamal Murray last season for the 2023-2024. I think, you know what, I'd be doing him a disservice if I didn't pull out the 2022, the 2023 stats. And you know what, before I even start with the playoff stats, let me just start off with what he averaged against the Lakers that year, y'all. Anthony Davis's team. And
he did him dirty.
His production was way better than AD's.
Dirty.
Jamal Murray against the Lakers averaged 32.5 points per game.
Dang.
In the 2022 to 2023 season. 6 rebounds and 5 assists. And please, you can look it up. In the 2022 to 2023 season. I will say that again for everybody in the chat and everybody on YouTube. Jamal Murray averaged 32.5 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. And for that playoff series in totality, which he played 20 games. And as y'all know, the more games you play, the more your stats disperse, and it's kind of harder to maintain a higher points per game, right? He averaged 26 points per game, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds in the playoffs that year.
He was cooking the boards.
So while y'all were putting y'all head in key, we have never seen a guy that can jump. And I'm not talking about like LeBron and KD and all them. What they average in the playoffs is very similar to what they average in the regular season. When you talk about a wild card who can make such a drastic jump from the regular season to the playoffs, we have not seen a guy like Jamal Murray's production increase so dramatically. We've never seen that like a guy like Jamal Murray. The closest we have is Jimmy Butler. But guess what, y'all? We talking about second options. And just that if it wasn't for that postseason performance, I'll be picking a safe answer. I'd be talking about Jaylen Brown right now, y'all. He just won a Finals MVP. It's the generic answer. It's the safe answer.
Right, yeah.
But the fact that we've never seen such a jump in production and just a role, someone who can complement their first option so well in this modern day era. In this current league, there is no player currently that complements their first option as much as Jamal Murray or elevates in production in the way that Jamal Murray does for the postseason. No second option in the league can do that. And if they can, y'all let me know now. Y'all let me know right now and give me some stats, please, baby. I'm hungry for some numbers. I'm hungry.
Can't really say KD. He pretty much averaged the same thing he averaged in the regular season is about the same thing he averaged in the playoffs.
Shaun, you can't even say KD for the dog on topic. You can't even say him for the episode, Shaun. He's not a second option.
Yes,
oh my goodness.
Nah, but you cope with that.
Thank you.
And he jumped from 21 to 32.
I mean, it's cute, man. Listen, let me get right. Just because you have a great jump in production, I wouldn't say that means your production is like higher than others. You saying he's the best playoff performer? Absolutely not. He's one of the best for sure. Maybe top 10, but I wouldn't say he's like the best playoff performer. Absolutely not. Now, you want to talk about second option numbers? Can I interest you in 27 and 10? On 57% field goal. That's the finals one. We got a chip. See now both players got a chip as a second option, so I can't even use the chip.
Right.
But
I got a question for you though. When did my guy win the finals, and when did your guy win the finals?
I got win the finals 2020.
Lord,
2020? You didn't say 2023, did you? You didn't wait. You didn't say 2023, did you? You said 2020.
Does that matter? He got a chip.
Absolutely, because the time spans, we're talking about two different time spans.
Y'all act like it's two different eras, though.
In fact, no. In fact, if anything, the fact that y'all won a championship first, y'all should have never allowed the Nuggets to beat y'all in that fashion, and y'all should have never allowed the Jamal Murray to average 32 against y'all.
It's a whole different team, a whole different team change. Caruso's not locking them up no more. KCP and Danny Green's not locking them up no more.
Regardless of what cast we have to guard Jamal Murray or not, you can't argue the stats that this man, especially 2022, 2023, had one of the best playoff performances from the second option we've seen in a while.
If you want to say he has a big jump and he has the best jump, yes. If you want to say he compliments Jokic like no other second option compliments that second option like he does, yes. But there's no way you can tell me that the best two-way big man in basketball is not the best second option in the world. And we're just talking about offensively. Defensively, I feel like he missed out on some DPOYs if you ask me. He should have been defensive player of the year a couple times. The defensive impact, he's the best defensive second option as well. I don't even want to go into defense.
No, and I agree with that. I agree with that. Like I said, postseason matters more to me. And we're talking about defensively. Just in that Lakers series alone from Jamal Murray last season, he actually averaged the most blocks on the Nuggets, 1.0 as a guard. Okay?
He averaged the most blocks
on the Nuggets. On the Nuggets, he absolutely did. I think it was 1.0. He averaged more blocks than any of the Nuggets for that series. And y'all can look that up. So it's not like Jamal Murray can't play defense. And first of all, our expectations of a way a guard plays defense and a big plays defense are two different. They're two different aspects. Okay, you're not going to expect no guard to play defense the way Anthony Davis played defense. He doesn't even have the physical attributes to do so. So when you talk about that elevation, yes, that attributes to how good of a playoff performance is someone because there's such an increase in production from the regular season to the playoffs. How do you make defensive schemes for Jamal Murray? If he just playing at 50, I don't know what he does. I don't know if he eats breakfast for the playoffs and just don't for the regular season. I'm not sure. I don't know what he's being fed, okay? But what I'm trying to tell you is when you go into the playoffs, you're making defensive schemes from people's regular season performance. So when you go to the playoffs, to see such a wild card, why do you think the Heat beat so many teams? Jimmy Butler don't play like that in the regular season. So when you see such a wild card like that, and it's even worse as a second option, because we're focused on Jokic. We're focused on Jokic, and we're focused on running off his shooters. So when you see a guy who dramatically increases in production in the playoffs, how do you create defensive schemes like that if you haven't seen it for the 82 games in the regular season? So that does, to me, attribute to someone's ability as a playoff performer. Because now we can't make an effective defensive scheme on you because we haven't seen this in the regular season. You're a wild card. You're throwing us off. If it wasn't for Jamal Murray, y'all would have beat the Lakers. I mean, y'all would have beat the Nuggets.
For sure.
That's all I'm saying. And again, to your point, AD plays amazing in the playoffs, but again, all you're doing is proving why he should probably be considered a first option, not a second option. Because you know what's the crazy thing? You can debate. I mean, honestly, I don't know why people would debate KD being a second option. If anything, he's 1A, 1B. He's 1A to me, but that's okay. But you can debate KD being the first, or I guess in Shaun case, the second option. You can really debate Anthony Davis being the first option. I've seen a lot of people do it from the moment he was on the Lakers to now. And it's probably going to be debated even more since he had 36 and 15. Way more than LeBron. But you will never, and I do mean never, debate Jamal Murray being the first option over Jokic. So I want that to really kind of sit with y'all for a second. Because y'all are naming people. When you got a question and ask yourself, is he a second option? That just kind of shows you maybe he's not as much of a second option as y'all think. And then that can change next season. But when you look at a guy who's been a second option for pretty much his whole career, like Jamal Murray, someone like Kyrie Irving, like Scottie Pippen, that's irrefutable as his status as a second option. And to have such a jump in production in the playoffs, I don't believe that there's a single second option in the 2020s that has performed such a dramatic increase of production in the playoffs than Jamal Murray. Statistically, it's not. Statistically, it's just not, y'all. I mean, it's just not.
I mean, numbers don't lie, but
But what, Shaun? I'm very interested here.
What
you got to say?
Hey, Katie got no on Jamal, man. Jamal be hooping. I ain't saying Jamal.
Katie, first option, man.
One B.
KD definitely a first option.
Katie's
Yeah,
a dishwasher, Shaun. He's a dishwasher.
He a server. On my shift, he a server.
Bro.
Indeed.
You different. You different. So, all right, y'all. We are coming up around close to the 50-minute mark, so it's a little shorter than usual. But let's go ahead and see if y'all have any topics or questions y'all want to bring up for us to answer. So, Shaun, Brandon, you got any questions, or you got any topics you want to bring out there to kind of strengthen y'all point? You know, now's the time to do so.
Nah, man, if you got something, go ahead.
I'm thinking, man. I'm thinking.
I got one real quick, just a quick one. We mentioned this earlier in the episode, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up so we can really get to really get our points about this topic. Okay. First question, and before you don't even explain it, it's a yes or no question. Do y'all believe in the 1A, 1B concept? Like, for example, I'm not gonna say LeBron and D Wade, that was first and second option, but let's just say the Steph and KD. 1A, 1B. Do y'all believe in that concept, or do y'all think it's just first and second option?
I believe in that concept, but at the end of the day, 5 seconds left, you know who you're going to give the ball to. You know who you rather have take what shot. I feel like if you had to choose, it can be 50-50 in a lot of scenarios. Like, they're both just as good, but I feel like if it really comes down to it, you have to choose one. If it really comes down to it, there is a best player on the team. But yeah, I believe the 1A, 1B concept, though. D-Book and KD, that's 1A, 1B. It's not. Yeah, you can't differ from that.
Okay. Shaun, do you believe in a 1A, 1B concept? And then I'm going to have y'all explain what separates a 1A from a 1B, which you kind of touched up on, but I'm going to have you clarify that further on. Go ahead, Shaun.
Do I believe in a 1A, 1B? D-Book and KD, man. That's not a 1A, 1B. Nah, I'm playing. Nah, I believe in it. Okay. Yeah, I believe in it.
So, so while we're already on you, Shaun, what separates a 1A from a 1B? How do we determine this guy's a 1A versus this guy's a 1B? Do you feel like it's more Brandon's point? Like, okay, who are we going to delegate the ball to in the clutch moments to determine who's 1A, 1B? Do you think it's stats-based? Do you think it's maybe vocal leadership as well, and just off-court leadership or on-court leadership, however you view at it? What distinguishes a 1A from a 1B?
I feel like vocally.
Okay.
Stats in a way. And then, what was the first point you said before that?
Or just how do we distinguish it in fourth quarter moments, like in key moments of the game? Like,
yeah, I feel like if you got the ball the most, especially in the clutch, I feel like that more gravitates to 1A. But if that 1A like struggling, then I feel like that 1B like steps up. I feel like 1A is like the person that got the ball in their hand the most, and then like average the most. Yeah, I feel like that.
Okay, so in regard to who you chose, in Kevin Durant, do you feel like Kevin Durant or Devin Booker is trusted in those key moments more? Who do you feel like gets the ball more in those key situations?
KD.
Okay. So you see how you kind of contradicting yourself almost. Like, you believe a 1A is this, and then when KD exhibits those characteristics of a 1A, we think he's 1B, which even 1B is not really a second option, at least in my opinion. I can't say from the objective standpoint, but from my opinion, I don't think 1B is a second option. I think a 1B is a first option who just happens to be in a second option role, but that is very temporary. It can easily change just like that.
Kind of like JB in a way. I feel like he could be a first option.
I think JB could be a first option, but I think the way we see Tatum hoop And just for majority of both of their careers, I'm gonna say JB's just the second option. For majority of the career, Jason Tatum's been the better player. We've had series where Jaylen Brown obviously looked better, especially in the finals. And I was gonna bring that up as well. Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP, but he really honestly didn't play that much better than Jason Tatum, at least statistically. They really measured that off his plus minus and then his slight more impressive field goal percentage. So it really wasn't much of a big difference. Like, Jason Tatum's definitely the second option. No, there was a lot of categories that Jason Tatum was better than in Jaylen Brown for that final series. But because of Jaylen Brown's plus minus, slightly better defensive presence, as well as a slightly better field goal percentage, they gave it to Jaylen Brown. Well, fewer shots taken. But I digress. All right, so Brandon, again, going back to that 1A, 1B argument. When you think of Anthony Davis, what determines a 1A and what determines a 1B? Is it stats based? Is it who's getting the ball in the fourth quarter? What are we looking at?
I'd say to me it probably would be like touches and like who takes more shots.
Okay.
Just really who's more aggressive.
Okay.
Who just make more plays offensively. Who's one does more than the other for sure. So I mean, who does more than the other? Who produces more? Especially fourth quarter, like that really matters because that really, shows your true colors a little bit as far as how you go offensively. I feel like if certain things, like in basketball, just certain things aren't working and you really need to do something, you're going to go back to what you trust. You're going to go back to what you know. I feel like LeBron can shoot all day, but if he really needs a bucket, he's going to go to the rack. The team can, have this guy score, but if they really need a bucket, they're going to go to this guy. So I feel like I determine fourth quarter a lot when it comes to deferring 1A from a 1B, but also offensive production as well.
Offensive production, okay. I agree. I definitely agree, but I don't think it's so much as applicable to your guy as you think. When we're talking about just a scoring option as a first option, and I know you was talking about fourth quarter touches, scoring ability, who are we going to give it to if we really need a bucket? I think if we really need a bucket, we give it to Anthony Davis. If I'm being completely honest now, I think that can change depending on the game, depending on the matchups. But I do think y'all best scoring asset is Anthony Davis. But I gotta agree with you. I think LeBron is the first option, but I don't think it's always so much necessarily scoring. I think it's just impact as well. Having LeBron on the court versus Anthony Davis on the court is a different impact. Defensively, AD is a stronger impact, but when you have LeBron not only as a scoring asset, but as someone who can delegate the ball to his teammates and create the right play, with the ball in LeBron's hands, we know the right play is going to happen. Whether people like to admit that or not, the right play is going to happen. And I think that's what really distinguish LeBron as the 1A to Anthony Davis 1B. But nevertheless, I do think AD's a 1B. I don't think he's just strictly a second option, as most people believe. Because I think when you got games, man, where any game this guy can score more, like if you're a first option, Jamal Murray is just not going to consistently score more than Jokic. He's not going to have 50% or 40% in the regular season where he's scoring more than Jokic. I don't think that, or just having, or statistically a better game than Jokic. It happens. It's rare. If you're a first option, it's not, okay, Monday I play better than you, but Tuesday you play better, or Wednesday you play better than me. That doesn't happen if you're a first and second option. That's really 1A, 1B, like, okay, I can go crazy this day, and the next day you can really go crazy, but I'm still considered the leader as this team is 1A. That's how I look at it, me personally. And I do think Jamal Murray is not no 1B. He's definitely not. He's had 1B moments, but for a majority of his career and majority of his time with the Nuggets, he's a second option. And just to add on to that complimentary role, I forgot to add something, y'all. If you look at who Jokic assisted the most in his career, it's Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray was injured for like over a season. It's Jamal Murray. Yeah. And I don't think any of your guys can say, oh, Devin Booker assisted KD the most in his career. Absolutely not. I don't think you can say that with LeBron to Anthony Davis. Absolutely not. So when you look at Nikola Jokic, who is arguably, I'm not even going to say arguably, he is the best playmaker in the league. And when you look at that and see that he assisted Jamal Murray the most, and just let's look at the impact, y'all. You can say that with the Lakers too, with 2019 and then getting AD. Like they went from missing playoffs to literally winning the championship. It was the bubble season. It gets a lot of flock.
Mickey Mouse.
Now, I do think it makes a difference, but I do think the ring still can't. When people say the ring don't count, no, it counts. I do think it's a slight difference because anything can happen in a season. So for something like I'm not gonna get political, but like COVID to happen, it can really affect things. And you got TJ Warren dropping back 50-point games. I mean, we're never gonna see that again. No disrespect to TJ Warren, he a bucket.
That's the next
we're not gonna
MJ,
see that again.
That's the next MJ.
The second coming to MJ, but nah. So that definitely counts. But when you look at as well, man, just with the Nuggets, as talented as Jokic was, man, and Jokic was really in his prime then, and as talented as he was, but without the presence of Jamal Murray getting knocked out by the second round and like consecutively getting knocked out the playoffs early in the first 2 rounds, man, and then Jamal Murray comes back and it's just a whole different impact. I think that matters, and I think that really like contributes to how good of a second option he is. I definitely do. Definitely do.
That's a fact.
All right, so
That's a fact.
anyway, y'all, we're pulling up on that 1 hour segment. Actually, we didn't already put up on the 1 hour. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is just do our closing thoughts, y'all. Let's just go ahead and start off with you, Shaun. Closing thoughts, anything you want to get off your chest, or maybe you got a new stand-in, just let us know now.
After this debate of y'all trying to convince me that KD's not a second option, even though he pulled up to, you feel me, Phoenix, yo, D-Book, you over there, that's your team, you feel me? But y'all made a strong point with when we discussing about the 1A, 1B, and KD's definitely 1A, so yeah, he's not really a second option, but it's cool though.
So what you're saying now is, so are you considering D Book as the best second option in the league, or is it still like I don't care, it's still KD? Like what is it now?
No. It's just 1A, 1B.
Okay.
Well, who is the if it's not KD, then who is the best second option in the world then, Shaun?
Yeah, no. After hearing Zon, I mean, it might be Jamal. Jamal it is. Nah, for real.
Nah, I feel what you're saying, man. Yeah, Zai, you cooked. I ain't gonna lie, you cooked. Cause as I'm hearing you, I'm just thinking to myself, is he a second option? Is he a real second option? I mean, he plays second option, but is he actually a second option? And as I'm realizing and thinking about it, he's not really a second option. He's just playing second option, but he's not really a second option.
Right.
I thought he's still top 10 in the league. You putting up those type numbers that he did opening night, those aren't second option numbers. So if I had to go with an option, I don't have to choose my answer, but it's not AD. That's 1A, 1B for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Obviously, y'all, I argue the best I can. I'm gonna keep the same point. I believe Jamal Murray is still the best second option in the league. And like what we were saying earlier, like he's a definitive second option. Like, and the fact that he would be a second option on most teams and he would still be the best second option on most teams, I feel like. But if we're just considering, which is more of a debate, that's, a debate for another time. But we're talking about currently for his current team, his current roster, I think he's the best second option that complements his first option the best. And you can just look at Jokic's most assists. He's assisted, like I said earlier, he's assisted Jamal Murray the best, and just that playoff presence, like that speaks volumes to me. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stay on my point that Jamal Murray is currently the best second option in the NBA. But I think it's close. I think you can debate. I think if you really debate someone, you debate Jaylen Brown, especially now. But I can't pick Jaylen Brown, me personally, because they have such a good team. I think when you have so many offensive weapons, y'all, it's just like, I think it's just easier to be a second option, at least from a scoring perspective, because now it's like, Okay, I got to worry about Jason Tatum. Okay, I got to worry about Porzingis. Okay, I got to worry about Drew dropping his occasional 20 out of nowhere. I got to worry about Derek White coming off and getting his stain off. I think it's just when you have so many offensive tools, and then too, you're a slasher, and then you have Al Horford. It just, not to knock off JB, I think JB could easily be considered the best second option in the league. And if someone said that, I really wouldn't be mad. But I look at the offensive options with the Nuggets and then the Celtics, and they're just two different. It's two different things. Like, one of the Nuggets' best offensive options was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, y'all. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. was inconsistent that series. I mean, it's just like you don't have a lot to work with. Like, you're really being hunted after. So, you know, that's why I say what I say. So I'm gonna go ahead and stay on my point with Jamal Murray. YouTube, if y'all see this, please comment. Who do y'all think the best player is? And if one of us tripping, which we already know he tripping right here. Guys, we already know he tripping. So y'all go ahead. Y'all don't let him have it too much in the comments, but y'all let us know who do y'all think's the best second option is. As well as if y'all want to hear any other topics, please leave that in the comments, y'all. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and close off today's episode. We appreciate anybody who tuned in live, and we appreciate anybody who clicked on this video. So we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. And once again, as I said last episode, and I will keep saying it, Jesus is Lord. Always remember that. Okay.
Amen.
He's our Savior. And it's just that simple. So, but we appreciate y'all who tuned in, y'all. God bless. God bless. God bless.
God bless. God bless, y'all.
Yo, screw you, Shaun.
I tryna rock your boy like a Leah. Been a while since I've seen ya. Diamonds was one on my neck, Aquafina. Can't leave the career of my Nina. Feeling like more, just missing my Gina.